Hey, Coach. Brian Burns with the groin added to the injury report today. Wasn't on there yesterday. Something that came up in practice today.
He's on the injury report today. Is limited. Just happened yesterday at practice.
Anything that you're concerned about moving forward?
No, I would expect. I would expect that he'd play well.
All right. Does anyone else have a question for Coach?
Yeah, just following up on Brian Burns. It seems like he's kind of developing that signature spin move. Does that remind you of any player that you've seen in the past? And do you think that's his best pass rushing attribute? Is that spin move?
I mean, it's good. I think his best move is just when he goes off the edge, attacks the guy's outside shoulder, leans and reaches with the outside arm. That's what most of his sacks have come from. But I think the spin's a great counter. He can spin. He can set the guy high and spin back inside. He can go in and spin back outside. In terms of reminding me of anyone, I mean, Dwight Freeney's the greatest spin move guy of all time. I wouldn't say it's there yet. Dwight Freeney did it for years and years and years. But Brian's a young player, and he's developing. And the thing I like about what he does is he's developing different moves. He's developing different strategies. He's learning how to rush, the different things that he gets. And so that spin move, though, is when used at the correct time, can be really lethal.
Let's go to Phil Orban and then Bill Voth.
Matt, to what extent can this be a measuring stick game in terms of measuring how far this team has come from week 2, considering you guys are, same team, and obviously the situations are a bit different, but there should be a way to kind of see your progress in this one, perhaps?
Yeah, I don't ever look at things as measuring stick. For me, I think each week you measure yourself against, the improvement of the week before. I think what's unique is, as you said, is we have a chance to see our improvement from, the last time we played them till now. They're a different team. We're a different team. We had last time we played them, we had, McCaffrey and KK and different guys like that out there playing for us. They had different people. So I think, every team is a unique, organism each year. It grows and improves and changes, and you want to make sure that you're getting better. So I think we'll find out. My main measuring stick each week is, are we a better team this week than we were last week? Have we improved from the team that played the Chiefs last Sunday? That's I'm just sort of a slight edge guy, just trying, hoping that we get better and better and better. I'm hopeful that we play better this week than we did, last week.
But if I could just follow up, I guess when you look back at that week 2 game, are you able to identify things that you are either much better at or not as improved as you would have liked to be at this point in the season?
We're much better at a lot of different things from that game. That game was an example of us really beating ourselves in a lot of areas. I think I said it yesterday. I think it was like 9 penalties, 23 pressures, 5 sacks, 4 giveaways. I think those are the numbers. 9 negative plays. I mean, we really, got up to a 21-0 deficit and then fought and crawled back into the game. We've improved in a lot of areas. I think 4 or 5 of our penalties on defense in that game extended drives for them. We had a couple of personal fouls that we were off the field and put them back on the field. But, they're playing with different players now, in some areas. Chris Godwin didn't play against us. Antonio Brown didn't play. We have, so I just think we're different teams. But I do think there's a lot of areas that we've improved in. I'm very pleased with our team's improvement throughout the course of the year. It just, at the end of the day, there's just a lot more that we have to get better at.
Matt, and you're pleased with the team's improvement. I'm wondering, how do you think the coaching staff has improved since week 2? Now that you've got 9 games under your belt together?
I'd say the same thing. I'd say that our coaches have adapted to, a new situation, different players, guys in and out of the lineup. I think they've made the most of their opportunities. They've they've putting our players in good position to make plays. I think just like the team, I think, there's always things that we have to continue to improve on as a coaching staff. I think each and every week you go back and you look at your players, you look at your staff, you look at yourself as a head coach, and you say, what did we do well? What did we not do well? What can we improve upon? And I think when you have that sort of love of the process, you don't get quite as caught up in the result. You just, surrender the result and just focus on that improvement. And I think I know our coaching staff works really hard, and I just think that they're doing a nice job, and we have to continue to do better and better.
Next question will go to Joe Person, followed by Steve Reed.
And then I actually have two real quick. We always say they're quick. Joe Brady is already kind of popping up on, for what it's worth, on head coaching candidate type lists. Just wonder kind of how you approach that. We haven't talked with you about that philosophically about, of course, probably just how you approach that with staff members.
In terms of just,
I guess, wanting, whether you want them to pursue that kind of thing or talking to them about the right opportunity, the right timing of these sorts of.
Yeah, I mean, I want every player, coach, staff member, I want everyone that's here to appreciate the opportunity they have here, that Mr. Tepper's afforded us the chance to be here. But I also want them to chase their dreams and go have unreal success. Whereas, sometimes people just see a name of a coach. I see their families, I see their girlfriends, their wives, their kids, and I want everyone to have success. And I think when you do that, when you're loyal to the people that work for you, it breeds loyalty. I know some of you guys know that a lot of people have been with me for a long time, and I would hope that a lot of people will continue to be with me for a long time. That being said, I don't have a problem with anyone handling anything as long as they're doing their job at a high level while we're here. And, I know all the coaches on our staff, opportunities will come, but, we're pretty resolute about getting this season as good as we can make it. We want to improve as far as we can and have as good a team as we can have. And so I think everyone's attention is based upon the hours I see them working and the way that I see them coaching and the way that I see them, doing things. I think there's no doubt in my mind that our guys are really focused on the here and now. But at the right time, if guys have opportunities, I will always 1,000% support them as long as they're honest with me and tell me about what's going on.
And then the other thing was completely unrelated. Just wondered, saw you had Tommy Stevens in. If you think you're going to sign him, and would it be as a quarterback or a tight end?
I'll probably wait till later just to see how that process works out. Testing and all that stuff. But Tommy's the guy we had a lot of respect for. Going back to college, and so wait and see if it works out.
Hey, Matt, I was wondering, as you're going back through film and watching Tampa Bay and what the Saints did to them to really slow their offense down, what did you learn from what the Saints did, and what do you guys got to do to translate that on Sunday yourselves?
The Saints just played really, really well. I mean, they covered well. They stopped the run. They got pressure on the quarterback. I mean, I don't think it's what they did. It's just how they played. They just played well. And, I think for us, I don't think you can necessarily go out and say, hey, we're going to copy this or copy that. In fact, I think if you try to do something that they did, Tom Brady and Bruce Arians, I'm sure they went back and looked at the things and they'd have an answer for it so quickly. I think we have to just do what we do and take advantage of the players that we have that are out there for us. And just the key being that it's how we do what we do. And I believe that with all my heart and soul. I tell our team all the time, like, there's 3-4 teams that win the Super Bowl. There's 4-3 teams that win the Super Bowl. There's teams that play man free. There's teams that play all zone. Like, people, we all have a tendency to get caught up in like what we're doing, but it's really just how you're doing it. There's 2-back teams that go to the Super Bowl. There's 1-back almost spread teams that go to the Super Bowl. And what you can't do is you can't try to copy someone else. You have to take advantage of the players that you have and say, what can we do and be successful at? And I think the Saints just, they just played really well. And, Tampa's an outstanding team, and they'll they'll play a great game on Sunday, and we have to make sure that we just do what we do and try to do it as well as possible. But I just don't think there's much we can take from that game other than, just studying Tampa and the way that they did things.
Let's go to David Newton and then Atlanta Getzenberg.
Hey, Matt. A lot of times when the team has a lot of penalties, they have to do with being undisciplined. And when you look at the penalties you guys have had this year, what would you attribute that to? Because it seems to be an issue that crops up more times than not.
Yeah, I don't know. The unique thing is I wish it was like that easy for me. Like, and it's hard, to be honest with you, David. It's hard because like one game it's like 3 penalties, right? And then the next game it's 12. I think the Saints with maybe like 1 penalty. So if it was like as cut and dry as like, hey, we're just a pretty undisciplined team, we would just continue to try to be a more and more and more disciplined team. And as I went back and studied the Panthers, like just, hey, when we win, what do we look like? When we lose, we look like historically it's been like, hey, when we've had a lot of penalties, we haven't played as well. But I go back to the Arizona Cardinal game this year. So I thought maybe that was it this year, but I go to the Cardinals game. I think we had like 11, 12, 13 penalties in that game. And that might've been our best game this year. So, I try to kind of put them in categories, right? Like, aggressive penalties versus tentative penalties versus pre-snap penalties. So I think on offense, I've just told Joe and them, like, we cannot win and have these pre-snap penalties, guys lining up wrong, it just can't happen. And that can be for a lot of different reasons. It can be players pressing, players not preparing, which is not the case. Our players prepare. Coaches trying to do too much, put too much offense in. On defense, I can always live with the aggressive ones. We can't keep jumping off sides. Like, I think most great D-line coaches would tell you they'll give their defense one jump off sides one time. Okay, like be aggressive, but after that we have to slow it down. So the aggressive ones when we're out there playing, I can live with all those. But I just think that we're still learning what it takes to play great football, play in and play out. And I mean that in a very respectful way. Our guys are playing so hard. I respect it. They're preparing so hard. It's just our level of being in the moment and not getting caught up in what's the score. I got to go make a play. Oh, it's third down. Like, don't get caught up in all that stuff and just reduce everything down to, I'm going to play hard. I'm going to do my job. I'm going to trust my technique and trust myself. Like, just trying to take all of this, like, hey, we got to win the game. We got to win the game and bring it down to, I'm gonna do what I do this play, and we're getting closer to that. But I think when you're in that very focused mindset of just handling one play at a time, what's next, you don't try to do too much, then you don't jump off sides. And so I appreciate the question, I really do, because I love when you guys ask me questions that I'm thinking about all the time, and I really believe it's just that mindset of, hey, let me go do what I do. If we were punching people, hitting people late, that to me would be discipline. I think we are just learning how to play in and play out, trust ourselves, trust our technique. And the negative thing is it's not always there, but when it comes, I think it's something that stays with you.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Matt, I was curious, you had Joey try these 2 long attempts late in games this year. What's your process for, I know you talked to Chase about what Joey's distance is and all that, but what's your process in deciding late in games to go for those versus a Hail Mary? Who do you talk to? What factors go into that decision for you?
It just really comes down to me. Like, I don't want to be the kind of coach that sit here and says, well, I asked him and he said this, I'll just keep those conversations. At the end of the day, I have to make the decision. And I think it depends on, hey, do I think we can convert the throw as opposed to having a chance at the kick? I think, if you go back to the last one, it was just sort of, hey, the wind at our back. I thought that was probably our only chance of making that. So I think that just kind of comes down that those things inevitably, no matter who I'm taking information from, they come down to me and they're my decision, and neither one has worked out. So I think that just falls on me. What I will say is I'm always trying to improve the things that happened before that, so we're not in that situation, right? And there's some things you guys see. There's also a lot of other things that if we just kind of do the things I just said to David and just kind of execute, not try to do too much, maybe instead of being at the 65 yarder, it's a 55 yarder, and we have a chance to win the game. So, but at the end, it all comes back on me, and I take total and complete and extreme ownership of the decisions I make and whether they work or not.
And then I was curious, I know you're not going to put make excuses or anything like that. But having this late of a bye where you guys still have 3 more games to go before you have a bye, do you feel like, I know it's the first year, but like, do you feel like that would have been helpful to have earlier on? Or, do you think about, I know you can't change it, but is that a thought at all?
Yeah, I try to be really disciplined about not allowing myself to go there. You know, if I never know how things are going to turn out. What I think will be good will be bad, and what I think will be bad will be good. So I just take it as it comes. It brings me a lot of peace to just be that way. So things outside my control, I don't just accept. I just try to attack. So I think there's teams that probably had an early bye week that might get banged up later in the year in which they had a late bye week, and so we maybe this will come at the right time. I'm just really focused on this week.
All right, guys, we have time for 2 more, so let's go to Jonathan Alexander and then wrap up with Bill Voth.
Hey, Matt. It seems like you all are really focusing on, I guess, the things you all did wrong in the last few weeks in week 2 and self-inflicted wounds. Is there anything that Tampa does that really contributes to teams making self-inflicted wounds?
Tampa, they're just really good. I mean, they can run the football, and I think he's thrown for 370 twice this year. And this, they're as loaded with weapons now as they've ever been. And then defensively, I think they put a lot of. If you're talking about the things from the first game, if you're referring to like week 2, I think they're 5 down. They bring basically 5 D linemen, 5 pass rushers in the game, and just force a 1-on-1. And there's nothing easy, right? Like, they're gonna play man coverage and just bring pressure, and they're gonna bring the safeties and blitz the safeties and play man, and so. They make nothing easy, and you can't. There's not a lot of time because they're bringing so much pressure, and they blitz away the run game as well. So they have outstanding players on defense. I mean, they've got a great defensive line and outside linebackers. They've got great linebackers. They have an excellent secondary. They're just they're a complete team, and but it's that blitzing, that pressure, that putting people in the box that can sometimes cause you to. Rush that can sometimes can cause negative plays, and really was a lot of our issues last time were the 5 sacks. And so for us to play well, we have to play really well up front in terms of the run game and in terms of protecting the quarterback.
Matt, it's a small sample size, but it seems like you're playing a bit better on the road than at home. Are you feeling that, or is in this bizarre year do you kind of have to? It's really hard to find trends like that.
I thought probably our best game this year was the Arizona Cardinal game, and that was at home. I think when you go on the road, the hardest thing about going on the road is the crowd, which is not really, except for Kansas City. I think they had like 18 or 20,000 people there, so you could definitely hear it. But I think the one nice thing about going on the road is just, as a team, you're kind of all in the hotel, you're on the plane together, you're all in the hotel together, even in a COVID year. Like, there's a lot of camaraderie. There's sort of a sense of like, closing the gates and rallying together. When you're at home, you don't really have that. So there's sort of a closeness that you have on the road, but it's just so hard because it's so loud. I think this year, because you're going into places and it's not loud, there's a certain special thing that kind of is available on the road. But I think our best game this year was at home. And so, I anticipate, and our challenges to us has been like, when we play at home, we have a chance to play in front of our fans. We have a chance to play in front of our family and our friends. And it's an opportunity for us this Sunday. Like, we know we're becoming a better team, and it's a chance for us to go out and play our best game in front of the people who care about us and whom we care about. So I would expect our guys to play really well this week at home.